You're listening to Success Stalkers Radio, episode 15 with Glen Mack. Welcome to Success Stalkers Radio. I am your host, Iona Garrett. People all over the globe are rewriting the rules to success. They're making money and changing the world. Join me Monday through Friday as I interview today's top entrepreneurs, business leaders, and entertainers that will leave you inspired to take action and achieve success on purpose. Are you ready? Let's dive right in. Okay, Success Stalkers, let's get started. I am simply thrilled to introduce our guest today, none other than Glen Mack. So, Glen, are you ready to stalk some success today?
Let's do that. I am ready.
Good deal. Well, Glen Mack originally hails from Frankfurt, Germany. He studied at the University of Houston, and after relocating to Los Angeles, he studied with various acting instructors. Initially, he went on to land roles in the History Channel's Egyptian's Book of the Dead, 2 episodes on TLC's Untold Stories of ER. Since then, he's also appeared in several indie feature films, and most recently, Glen has been seen in ABC's The Whole Truth and NBC's Law and Order. So, Glen, I've given our listeners just a little overview. So I want you to take a minute, tell us about you personally, and just let us know, some things that's going on with you on your business path right now, because we want to get to know you.
Well, I've been in LA for quite a while now, and when I moved out here, it wasn't for the intent of becoming an actor. It was just one of those things that the universe presented to you, or God presented to you. I came out here. I did restaurant management. I did outside sales, but I just felt the nudge into this other direction, and so that's the path that I've been following. And I took some classes, had some experiences, was able to work on the TV shows, and also pursue some projects that I've been in, that I've been blessed to be in. Let me say that way. So that's kind of the path that I've been on, and it's kind of culminating in a really exciting thing at the end of the week, which I guess we'll talk about at some point in this interview.
Mm-hmm. And you're from Germany. Tell me a little bit about that.
I was born in Stuttgart, Germany. I lived a couple places in Germany, including Frankfurt, Stuttgart, as I mentioned, and also a small town called Bamberg. My dad was in the U.S. Army. And so we spent most of the time there. We did live a little bit in the States. We lived in Kentucky. We lived in Seattle. And then eventually relocating to Texas, which is where I went to U of A. Yeah. Got
you. So do you ever get a chance to go back?
Yeah, actually, I went last year. I went last May. It was awesome. It's a little different because all of the military things that are there have been drawn down. So it's like going to your hometown and half of it's closed down. That's what it kind of feels like.
Oh, that's kind of sad. Oh.
It is, but you have to look at the bright side. There's half of it that's still there.
Yeah, that's true. That's like the glass is half empty, half full.
It's all how you look at
right.
it. So
it's all from that perspective. Yes, you're right.
It was really great to be back. It was.
I stand corrected. So, well, Glen, we're going to dive way into your journey a little later in the interview. But before we do, we always like to start Success Stalkers Radio off with a success quote to really get that motivational ball rolling. So take it away.
Okay. As far as like a personal mantra for me, it's always been just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And what that means is you just got to keep moving. Whether you're being successful or you're still working at it, you have to keep moving. You can't be stuck. You just got to keep it moving. Another one that I think this is a Wayne Gretzky quote. It says you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and that's key. What's the other quote that says whether you think you can or you think you can,
you're right.
You're right. So you got to go for it. Is really what it is. It's okay to fall on your face. It's okay not to succeed initially. You know what I mean? It's okay because it's all part of the learning curve, I think.
Right. So Glen, give me an example, if you can, of one of your mantra. Give me an example of how you've applied that on your journey.
Well, as an actor, you go on a lot of auditions, and it's a bunch of job interviews, really, if you look at it that way. And most of the time, you don't get the job.
Right, right.
You know?
I understand.
And it's easy to be discouraged, and it's easy to think, oh, I'm not going to get this. Or, we're going to audition, you see 20 people that look kind of like you. That's a little odd. Because, first of all, you didn't think there were 20 people that looked like you, but there are. And so it's easy to become discouraged, and you just have to keep pushing through. Just make the best choices that you can with that audition, and then leave that audition alone and go on to the next one. That's all you do.
Yeah, I can
Sooner or
imagine.
later, huh?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I can imagine, that's even though that's not you're not an entrepreneur as an actor, but you're kind of like that because you have to go hard and you have to hustle, just like an entrepreneur. So I can only imagine, what that's like going to an audition and, like you said, seeing 20 other people like yourself. So you really got to stand out. So
Well, in a way, it is kind of like being an entrepreneur. You are your own business as an actor.
yes, you are.
You
You
know,
are.
and yes, you have an agent, and some people have managers and things like that. But you are your own brand. You are your product. You know what I mean? And you're out there. These auditions are basically selling your product, is what you're trying to do, and get people to buy. And just the same as in sales, when I was in outside sales, mostly you're going to get no's, but when you get that yes, it's a very sweet yes.
Yes, I'm sure it is. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure. Well, Glenn, here at Success Talkers Radio, we are all about the journey, the story. And I know that you've had quite an amazing journey. So, we want to focus, but before we go any further, I want to focus on a failure. And I want you to take us to that moment, take us there. So, and then share with us some lessons that you learned after that failure.
Well, okay. Let's go back to around 2001. That was right after September 11th happened. I was in the outside sales for a food company, and I had been doing it for 3 years. And the first 2 years, I really, really enjoyed it. And the last year, I don't know what it was. I didn't. And then September 11th happened, and it got to the point where it's like my soul said, I don't want to do this anymore. There were days I couldn't make myself get up to go to work. It was really tough. And I just decided, okay, I'm what's going to make me happy, but I'm not happy. And, I chose to make a plan. I left, and I said, I need to find out something that I want to do. Or maybe it's just this company or whatever. So, at the time I was living in downtown Los Angeles in my deluxe apartment sky. And like George Jefferson and them used to say, moving on up. Well, when I left that company, I had to move on down. And so I made some other arrangements, and I tried a couple other outside sales things, and then there were a couple of things that happened that kind of nurtured me into the entertainment field. One of the things you had mentioned earlier was the weakest link. A friend of mine kept encouraging me, you have to try that out. You have to try that out. And other people kept saying, give this a whirl. And so things like that happened. That did some modeling for like gas masks after September 11th. People just approached the blue. All these different things kind of said, maybe I ought to take a look at this acting. And that was the aha moment for me, because once I got into that, I was like, wow, it wasn't like work. I really just like, this is what I should have been doing. And that was back in 2004-ish.
Okay.
When I finally got it. So, yeah, that was part of that kind of thing. Had I stayed in outside sales, I would have been living a most fantastic lifestyle and doing all that kind of stuff, but I wouldn't have been happy. So now I am.
Wow, that's a great segue into my next question. So, Glenn, let's go forward, okay? As we transition to the other end of the spectrum, the aha moment that you just mentioned, that light bulb moment, because just like you've had lessons that you've learned from failures. You've also had some amazing ideas, I'm sure, that have helped you to become successful. So just tell us one of those aha moments. Take us to that moment. Then show us how you took steps to turn that light bulb moment into success for yourself.
Well, I mean, the first acting aha moment. Well, no, let me do the first entertainment one, because I failed miserably at it. So I was on this game show, and there's a section of it that they tell us a little about yourself. So we're taping this, and I stumbled over my tongue. It was like, I kid you not, it was like, so Glenn, tell us about your background. And I was like, blah, 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 blah. And you had the whole audience there. So this was kind of one of the things I remember being a kid. I'm going to segue back to where we came from here. I would think I was in fourth grade or whatever. I was supposed to sing, and when I got to my part to sing this for the Christmas program, I forgot all the lines.
Oh.
So this was like a full circle moment. I'm doing it again. And I had done this whole visualization thing. I said,
Flashback.
I'm going to win this show. I had visualized it leading up to it. I knew I was going to win. And this happened. I was like, okay. Then I started to mess up. But I just keep putting one foot in front of the other. I just let that go. Went on with the show, just kind of calmed down. And once I did, I found my stride again, my rhythm. And that's how I ended up winning that show.
That's so awesome. I would love to see a clip of that.
I have one, and I will show you the very end of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely
do.
I would
Send
definitely
that to me. Okay, good. And you said that was about, so you wanted to go ahead and talk about another aha moment.
One little aha moment was when I had to do an emotional for a film called Simple Promise. And it was something we did improv, and I didn't have, the director said, I might want to do something because we had to cut another scene that would have explained something. But we didn't have that actress available to do that, so we did it in a phone conversation that I was having with the actress's character. And, a lot of times when you're on set, you have all these. The blessing is I had a chance to work on a TV show as part of a crew and got used to having all that circus going on around you. And I was actually able to focus and get to the truth of what that character was feeling and just let it flow and just focus and just don't even think about anything else other than that moment and that character. And that was an aha moment for me because I said, now I know I can do this.
Wow, that's excellent. That is awesome. That's great. So, Glenn, I want to shift the focus for just a minute because, I want to shine a spotlight on you. You should just kind of share with us one of your proudest moments in your career.
Proudest, it's going to be coming up, actually. A project that I did that is called Hamlet's Ghost has been selected to get its world premiere screening at the prestigious Cannes Film Festival in France. And
oh my,
it's awesome because it's just a small independent film. But there were 850 submissions, and they chose 40 films to give that spotlight to, and we were one of those 40 films. Now,
wow, that's huge.
That's awesome. And the thing of it is, we're not in competition. We're not in official selection because there's only like 12 of those movies or 14, whatever that number is, and that's okay. But as an actor, to have one of your films in which you have one of the lead roles getting its world premiere at probably the most famous film festival in the world is pretty amazing.
That is just unbelievable. That is so awesome.
Yeah, so, by the time that this interview airs, it'll already happen. But this Sunday at 6 p.m., I will be in Cannes watching my film premiere. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, that's so exciting. I'm so happy for you, Glenn.
Thank you. I'm thrilled.
Wow, I'm looking forward to getting some more info on that too, and possibly even seeing it. That would be
awesome. I will definitely keep you posted.
Okay, good deal. Well, Glenn, we both know that being an entrepreneur. I mean, like you just said, being an actor is really like being an entrepreneur because you are your own brand and you have to market yourself. So, I'm an entrepreneur. But, I still feel like we still can relate. And, it can be a roller coaster of emotions, I'm sure, even as an actor. So,
right.
you can be up today and, in the next 24 hours, you can be ready, you're just frustrated and ready to quit and give it all up, So I want you to tell us about a way that you keep focused and how you keep the end result in mind each day. What is it that you do to stay on track?
Sometimes you have to get out of the immediate environment in which you're in. Because sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees.
Right.
And something that I found that I'd like to do in the last couple of years, and anybody that's followed me on Facebook or seen any of my posts knows I like to get out into the outdoors. A lot of times I go hike, and I hike up this mountain, and it just takes me above it for a minute, and it calms me. And I'm looking out at the whole city, and it calms me, and I need that so that I can get back at myself and go back down after that hike and deal with what I need to deal with in order to be successful.
Right.
And that's just a little technique that I use. Everybody has to find their own way to do that, but I highly recommend that because it's very powerful. It really is.
Yeah, I can see that that would be so common. I see all of your pictures on Facebook when you're hiking, and I'm like, wow, that looks so cool. I've never actually hiked before, and I've lived in LA
Uh-huh.
before. I'm not sure if you knew that, but I used to live in LA some years back. But I never got a chance.
Okay.
Never got a chance to do that. But I'm coming back out there, so maybe we can go hiking. That would be fun.
For sure. Let me know. Definitely. I would love to take you.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we kind of talked about your projects. I was going to ask you, about your latest projects, that's going on. So you kind of touched on that. Any other new projects coming up, or any other things you got brewing up?
Couple things that are they're not in the fully developed stage, so I don't want to talk about them.
Okay.
But the one that I do have coming up to Hamlin's Ghost is a really interesting story, and it's about this guy who's an actor, and he's doing Hamlet, but there's some weird things going on, some supernatural kinds of things going on. And my character comes into play when I'm trying to redeem my great-grandfather. He was accused of a crime he didn't commit. And there's some things that come into play that focus me on this one guy who's this actor, because he's the one that seems to have a hand in my great-grandfather's death. So we're on this path to figure out what's going on.
Wow.
And it's very interesting. It's really interesting, and I can't wait to see the full cut. I've only seen scenes, so I haven't seen the full cut, but the script was awesome, and the story was as well.
So when will it be ready?
It's ready now, but we're going to Cannes, and one of the things when you submit a film to Cannes, you can't submit to anything else.
Okay.
So that's the first one, because otherwise they won't consider you. It's just a weird Cannes kind of thing I think they have going on.
Oh, I can understand.
But so hopefully after this, we're looking to find some buyers for the film. That if not, we have some decent exposure, and we'll hit some of the other film festivals that are here in America. So we're looking forward to that for sure.
Well, we'd love to have you back on the show again in the near future. Once it's ready, and even when you have some other projects going on, we'd love to have you back on.
That'd be awesome.
Good deal. Well, this is my favorite part of the interview, Glenn, the success round. And so with the success round, what I want to do is I want to throw some questions at you, and then I want you to come back at me with some knockout answers. Is that fair enough?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So what was it before you became an actor? What was it that held you back, that really, stopped you before doing it?
Oftentimes, I think what held me back was me. Yeah, I really do, because I think sometimes you get in your own way.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to not do that and believe in yourself, and just work hard. That's really what it is about. Putting in the work, putting in the energy,
Absolutely. What is some of the best advice you've ever received?
In the entertainment field, the best advice that I received was I was going through some drama as I was working on the show as part of the crew, and there's a lot of politics. That's also a nice little learning opportunity there. And I remember my media supervisor said, "Glenn, just remember this: play the game." And you can interpret that a lot of different ways, but after about 6 months after he said that, I understood what he was meaning. And it was just learn your audience, learn how this thing works, learn who talks to who, and play the game. And I did, and I survived.
Gotcha. That's good advice. Good advice. Well, can you share one of your daily personal habits that you believe attributes to your success, something that you do on a daily basis?
Okay, daily basis. I get up and there's a routine. If I have an agent and they submit things, and that's okay, that they submit you for whatever, but I still go look on the actor sites myself.
Good.
What's out there? What's going on out there? I read, for example, there's a website called Deadline.com that has all the Hollywood news about the latest castings, what's going on in your industry. You need to learn that. On a weekly basis, I get the Hollywood Reporter delivered, and I read that, because it's not just about what role you're offered. You have to understand what's going on in your industry.
Right, and be intentional about it. That's right. That's true.
Exactly.
Right. So do you have like an internet resource or some sort of tool or business tool that you use, that you can share with our listeners?
Yes, and there's a really cool program that I use. Unfortunately, I think it's only on the Apple platform. It's called Rehearsal 2. Now, this one's kind of geared for actors, but it's a really cool tool, so I wanted to share that with you.
Okay,
the program, or it's an app called Rehearsal 2, runs you about $19.99. I'm not getting any money at that, so I'm not getting a plug,
right.
So I get a benefit of that. But what that tool allows you to do, if you're an actor and you want to record a scene or rehearse a scene, sometimes you don't have your other scene partners there. What this tool allows you to do is you can record their parts and leave yours blank, so that when you play it back, play it back, excuse me, you can act into that scene, and that helps you with that. It's a really fantastic tool.
Come on, are you kidding me? Wow,
Yeah.
there's something out there like that?
Yeah, there is. And not only that, it's like you can import, like if your agent sends you the sides that you're supposed to prepare for or anything like that in email form, the app will just take that scene and just insert it into the program and help you record the dialogue that you need to record. It's awesome.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Technology, huh?
Right?
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So, Glenn, what book would you recommend to our listeners? What book has really inspired you, lately or in the past, or that you can, refer to our listeners?
As far as for acting, there's, tying into entrepreneurship, there's a book by a casting director called, her name is Bonnie Gillespie, and it's called Self-Management for Actors, Getting Down to Show Business. And it really teaches you how to look at different things so you can run your own brand, do things for yourself, because it is your business.
Yes,
it's a fantastic book. I really, really recommend that.
That's a good book.
Also, when we mentioned hiking, I'm not that big on audiobooks per se, but there's one, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, that if you listen to it while you're hiking, it's a lot of affirmational kind of stuff that I think is really helpful to get you in the right mindset.
Oh, yes, I have that one.
Do you have the audiobook?
Oh, yes, I have that one. It's powerful. I love it, yes.
I do, too. You don't have to listen to it all the time, but, you listen to it from time to time, and the music's there, the affirmations are there. It's very, very inspiring.
It just totally changes your whole view, your whole viewpoint, your perspective.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've been listening to that for a couple of years now. It's phenomenal. Yeah, so the last thing our last question, and this is pretty fun. I want you to imagine, okay, that you woke up tomorrow morning in a brand new world, identical to Earth, but you knew no one. And you still have all of the experience, all of the knowledge that you currently have today. And let's just say all of your food's taken care of, all of your shelter's taken care of, but you only have a laptop and $500. What would you do in the next 7 days?
What I would do, I get on the internet. I would sign up for as many actor websites as I could, which are like Actors Access, LA Casting, Now Casting, Frontier Casting, because you can self-submit on some things that are listed there. I would also use that to see if there's any classes or any kind of audit classes that I could take. A lot of that you can find online as well. And I don't know the entire parameters. I probably would go online and see about trying to find an agent, too. Because there's resources you can pull which agents are there, and you can start emailing or sending submissions in there as well.
Right.
So, yeah, because if your food's taken care of and your shelter's taken care of, life is good.
Yes, life is good.
Life is good. So focus on making it better.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about getting rained on or anything like that.
Right.
Well, Glenn, it has certainly been a pleasure just hearing about your journey. It's just so inspiring. And, let's end with this. I want you to give our success stalkers, one parting piece of guidance and advice, and then share the best way that they can find you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Okay. Follow your bliss, really. I think you should be grateful for whatever you have. And a lot of times it doesn't matter where you live. There's something to be grateful for in your life. You may not have all the things that you want, but be grateful for what you do have. And that's kind of what I would suggest doing. As far as contacting me, anybody can follow me on Twitter. It's Mr. Glen Mack. That's MrGlenMac. On Instagram, it is I am Glen Mack. And then, of course, on Facebook, you can just find me at Glen Mack.
All right. I love that. Love that. Well, Glenn, I know our listeners have gotten some great nuggets from you today and some great takeaways and tips. And they can also find the links to everything we talked about today as well at successstalkers.com/Glen Mack. So everything we discussed will be in the show notes there. And Glenn, we just really appreciate you for being so generous and, being transparent with your journey and also with your time today. So we say thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, and I appreciate it. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, and for everyone out there listening, thanks for tuning in. And until our next episode, keep stalking success. Well, that'll do it for another episode of Success Stalkers Radio. If you'd like to hear more from these inspiring entrepreneurs and entertainers, be sure to subscribe to the Success Stalkers Radio podcast on iTunes. And if you found value in this episode, give us a review, hopefully 5 stars. You may also visit us at successstalkers.com. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you.